everyone. Thanks, Liz, for the warm welcome, and thanks, GCMN, for the invitation. I'm really excited and happy to be here. Okay, so as you know, my name is Sarah, and I lead brand marketing at Blinkist. For those of you who aren't aware, Blinkist is an app from Berlin, Sun and LA, that gives you the key ideas from best-selling non-fiction books in text and audio that you can read or listen to in just 15 minutes. So if you're one of these people that has a Kindle full of books that you mean to read but can't find the time to get through them all, or a stack of books by your bedside table that you've been meaning to read, the Blinkist app is for you. So we solve the no time to read problem by giving you key ideas from a book in a bite-sized format so you can fit reading into your life. So our mission at Blinkist is to inspire people to keep learning. And earlier on, we heard that this conference is all about sharing ideas. So in the spirit of learning and sharing ideas, let's talk challenges. So the challenge that I want to talk about today is this. I need ad creatives that will make the cash register ring. I've borrowed the second half of this phrase from advertising giant, original madman, David Ogilvy. And if you haven't read David Ogilvy's books on advertising and you're interested in advertising, you absolutely should read all of them. Incidentally, you can find them on Blinkist. Okay, the pitch is over now. So the challenge. How can I consistently produce creatives that will convert? So how do I find the taglines, the messages, the stories, the calls to action that will convince prospective customers to swipe their cards and spend their hard-earned money on my product? So this is a challenge of two parts. It involves creative thinking and performance analysis. And often, as at Blinkist, these two parts sit in different teams. And when they meet, it can sometimes look like this. So that's a creative deer in headlights with an amazing social media plan being grilled by a performance team that just don't get it. The best jokes are the ones you have to explain. But the reason why I'm showing you this slide is to draw attention to the enduring myth or idea that creative people and data people constantly butt heads or can't get along. And one of the most important things to remember when building, structuring, and growing a team to produce ad creatives that convert is to collapse this myth. Bring your data and creative people together and create a culture where they're working very closely together. What does that mean, though? So what does that mean in concrete terms? It means that it's your responsibility to ensure that every single person on your marketing team understands what it means when a creative works. We hear about that a lot, creatives working or not working. So everybody needs to understand what it means, not just your channel managers. So every creative copywriter, designer, video maker that you have on your team must understand how campaigns are structured and how you measure success, in order to avoid this scenario. So we have a budget, we have a team that knows its strengths and how to play to them and how to work together, and you've got a great product. So how do we start building ad creatives that will convert? So Corey was just talking about relying on the process. So really what we're going to do now is talk through the process that we use at Blinkist. So there are 4 steps: ideate, select, analyze, and then repeat. Let's start with the first one. Number 1, ideate. This is my favorite part. So this is the brainstorming process, and it's where you'll find the big ideas to populate your ad creatives. And the first thing to remember here is to frame the process. So blue sky thinking is great, but you need to frame every ideation meeting that you have. So every meeting should start with a frame, which could be, for example, a brief that clearly outlines the purpose of the ad creative you're there to talk about, the channel, the requirements of the channel, and every single thing you've learned from working on that channel up until that point. And the frame creates a constraint. And constraint, and this is the really important bit, constraint is the secret ingredient to creative genius. So that's very counterintuitive, because normally people think, okay, limitations is going to make me less creative. But actually, the opposite is true. working within clear boundaries kicks off the creative process because you have a clear starting point, you have a clear problem to solve, and you've got clear building blocks to work with. Okay, the second thing you have to remember is to know your user. Know your user, name your user. So get to know your customer's worldview. Find out how they think, what language they use when they talk about the product, what problems they have, and also what kind of a promise do you need to make to your user to convince them to buy your product. So at Blinkist, we've identified a couple of different user personas, but one that we talk about all the time is a user persona called the knowledge hunter. So someone who's hunting for knowledge. And this person, so let's just say it's a man, he's in his mid-30s, he's professional, he's ambitious, he's motivated by finding lots of big ideas really, really, really quickly. But often when we talk about user personas, when marketers talk about user personas, it can feel quite abstract. So in an effort to make it more concrete, we gave the knowledge hunter a name. His name is Alan. So now, whenever we write copy directly to Alan. And we put his name in, so we talk to him. We're like, no time to read, Alan? Ever read 4 books in one day, Alan? Are all of your friends telling you need to go back to business school, Alan? And it's really helpful because it helps to keep the messages super focused. And we also refer to Alan by name constantly during our ideation meetings. So would Alan like this? Will Alan find this valuable? Will this resonate with Alan? Does Alan care? Will Alan click? So it helps to keep our messaging super focused. It helps to bring this persona to life. Like, what's Alan listening to? What's he subscribing to? What's he doing tomorrow? What's he doing on the weekend? And it also, crucially, stops us from putting our own tastes into the ads, because that's a mistake that a lot of people make. Just because you like it doesn't mean that Alan's going to like it. And you can replace Alan for whoever your user persona is. Okay, number 3, obsess about the problem. So you need to make your product relevant. And the truth is that people care very, very, very deeply about themselves and their own problems, not so much about your product and its new features. So you're more likely to connect with your audience if you address a very specific problem that your target customer has in their life. So basically, the problem acts as a foil to your value proposition. And if you can accurately and adequately speak to the problem, you can make your solution shine so much brighter. So the next thing is keep it obvious. So your prospective customer knows nothing about your product. So if I say to you, do you want to be a better person every day? Try Blinkist. Blinkist could be a new brand of whiskey, for all you know, but it's not. So that's why we always say, try the Blinkist app. And whenever we actually refer to the fact that it's an app in all of our copy, conversion rates instantly double. Keep it obvious. And while you're keeping it obvious, also keep it simple. Pick one clear message and stick to it. So, for example, if I have a ball and I throw the ball to Liz in the front row, chances are Liz is going to catch 1 ball. If I have 10 balls and I throw 10 balls at Liz, chances are Liz isn't going to catch any balls. So pick a clear message and stick to it. Hammer one clear message home. Don't overload your customer. Keep it clear and simple. Give them one message and every chance to catch it. And number 6, keep the channel in mind. So you can bring the same message to life over lots of different channels, but you have to adjust, obviously, for the requirements of the channel. So I'm talking about creative length, character limitations, etc. But also think about your audience, and think about your audience's mindset when they're browsing Facebook versus when they're listening to a podcast and they hear an ad. So for example, in our case, we might layer on the audio message a little bit thicker in a podcast ad versus in a Facebook ad, because of the moment of contact that we have with the prospective customer, depending on the channel. Okay, so that's ideation. Let's look at 2 videos that we created for customer acquisition on Facebook. So the first one is Juice Vid. The lead copy reads, ever read 4 books in one day? Get the core ideas from the juiciest nonfiction in 15 minutes with the Blinkist app. Let's watch the video.
But that's how I do it. Hi, my name is Eric, and I work here at Blinkist. Blinkist is an app that gives you key insights from popular nonfiction books that you can read or listen to in just 15 minutes. Still don't understand? Okay, let me help you with a few visual aids. We take best-selling nonfiction books and distill them down to their key insights, making them quick and easy to digest. Now you may say, but I still really love fruit, or books, or whatever. Look, we also really love fruit. We're not trying to do away with fruit. It's just that sometimes juice is a whole lot more convenient. I can't fit this into my pocket. It's just, it doesn't work. Blinkist has over 2,000 nonfiction books to choose from. Try the Blinkist app today. Can I have some more juice? This stuff's amazing.
Okay, great. So that's Juice Vid. And the second video is imaginatively named Talking Head Vid. So the second video, the lead copy reads, meet Blinkist, the app all the CEOs love. Get over 2,000 nonfiction books transformed into powerful packs you can read or listen to in just 15 minutes.
Hi, my name is Therese, and I read 4 books every day with the Blinkist app. Thanks, but I've already read those. I work in business development, and Blinkist helps me grow along with my company. What I really love about Blinkist is there's audio too. It means I can listen to key ideas from books while heading to and from work. To start, I recommend Getting Things Done by David Allen. Give it a go and begin to fit reading into your life.
Okay, so show of hands. Which video do you think performed better on Facebook for customer acquisition? Juice Vid? Ooh, interesting. And Talking Head Vid? It looks like a 50-50 split. So the truth is, Talking Head Vid way outperformed Juice Vid by a long shot. And the reason why we think is because it's very simple, it's very clear, it talks people through the app and what it does, but it also focuses on the value of the app. So what does it do? It makes you better, it makes you more successful, it makes you grow and your business grow. It shows the clear value. Whereas Juice Vid is really nice, but it doesn't do a great job. It does a good job of explaining what the app is, but it doesn't do a great job of explaining what the value of the app is. It's kind of long, it's sort of meandering, and it's a visual metaphor, which by definition is kind of complex. So it's the opposite of being direct and being straight. So for customer acquisition, Talking Head Vid works better. However, we then ran Juice Vid for remarketing. So in a retargeting campaign for people who know our brand, but have never signed up, when we retarget them with Juice Vid, they see the video, they smile, they come back to Blinkist, and then they sign up. So it doesn't work for acquisition, but then we did manage to find a place for it in our funnel in remarketing. Okay, so now we've talked about ideation and looked at some ideas, and we've brought them to life. So let's talk about selection. So it's likely that after the ideation process, you'll have lots of ideas, and you have to decide which ones you want to make. So you have to prioritize which creative ideas you want to actually produce. So what you need to do is develop creative metrics to help give you an idea of what has a better chance of performing. So at Blinkist, we use something called a creative scorecard. And this is kind of a simplified version of the scorecard that we use. So first of all, you have the idea, Juice Vid, Talking Head Vid, and you have the hypothesis. Every idea has to have a strong hypothesis. I repeat, every idea has to have a strong hypothesis. The hypothesis anchors the idea. It also means that 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks later, when you come back, you look at all the data, you're writing your performance report, you're not asking yourself the question, why did we think juice vid was a good idea? It's there. It's in the hypothesis. So then we take different criteria and we decide, we look at different criteria in order to judge how difficult or how good the creative will be, basically. So the first thing is ease of production. We produce our creatives in-house. So it's like, do we need to fly to Miami to produce it? Do we need to bring in lots of actors? Do we need to tame a shark? Depending on how easy it is, it will score higher. Is it connected to Blinkist? So can we make it obvious? Can we make it direct? Can we make it simple? Can we show that it's an app? And then is it valuable for Alan? Remember Alan? Remember Alan? Anybody remember Alan? So Alan basically there means your user persona. So is it valuable for your user persona? So using this process, you can score the idea and decide which one you will go with. So here, if we had done this for the customer acquisition campaign, we could have seen, all right, talking head vid is going to do better than juice vid. So once we've chosen our creatives, then we talk about everybody's favorite topic, which is measuring success. So you need to pick the right KPIs, but I know what you're thinking. There are so many KPIs out there. How do you pick the right ones? And I can tell you what we do. We take 2. We look at view to sign up, which is at the very top of the funnel. It's at the top of the funnel. And it's an early indicator as to whether the creative has a chance of working or not. And it also directly reflects the creative's efficacy. So it directly tells us whether the creative is able to do what we want it to do, which is get people to sign up to the app. And then the second thing we look at is ROI, because ultimately, we want a creative that impacts the bottom line and gets people swiping their cards. So they're the 3 steps sort of in the process. And the final step is to repeat forever, because a marketer's work is never done. In terms of repeating, I have 3 best practices to remember when you're repeating forever that I'll quickly share with you. The first one is to start where you are. So an obsession with originality, so being original, an obsession with originality is one of the most dangerous things in the world for creativity. Forget about originality. If you've spent money on ad campaigns, you've been learning. And every penny you spend, you get back in knowledge and information. So don't throw it away, don't ignore it. Every ad creative you have should stand on the shoulders of every ad that came before it. No matter how dodgy or great the ad was, it doesn't matter. The point is that you've been learning the whole time. Second thing is, don't give up too soon. So it's often much easier to work on a creative that's almost there, but not quite, than go back to the drawing board and start again with ideation. So for example, take this article. We launched this article on paid content distribution channels, Outbrain and Taboola, and we had a lot of confidence in it. We felt like it had a very strong hypothesis because we knew that this message, Meet Blinkist, the reading app that all CEOs love, we knew that this message resonated with our audience because we saw it working on other channels. So we said, fantastic, let's put it onto paid content distribution and see how it works. But unfortunately, the first time that we launched it, the metrics weren't quite where they needed to be. So what did we do? We didn't give up. We started to test. We ran a lot of rigorous tests. And we managed to increase conversion on this article by 200%. I'm going to see if I can do this. Can I? Oh, yes. OK. We managed to increase conversion on this article by 200%. We ran lots and lots of tests, but here are 4 tests that we ran that showed an uplift. The first thing is, we edited the introduction to say straight away that it's an app. Make it obvious. And we saw an uplift of 33%. Second thing, we included an actual user quote communicating the value of Blinkist. So focus on your user, know your user, and obsess about their problems. And we saw an uplift of 30%. Third thing, the initial version of this article had images, but also videos, because we were thinking, oh, we've got these great explainer videos about Blinkist, let's just throw them in, and then people will have lots of different touch points to get to know the app. Too many balls, way too many balls. So we took out the videos and just left images connected directly to the story, and we saw an uplift of 13%. And then finally, the biggest uplift came from tailoring the points. So like knowing the user and giving real value to the user. And also, fundamentally, knowing what promise we need to make to the user to get them to convert. So now this is a staple part of our paid content distribution campaign. It's a really stable, great creative, but the point is that we had to iterate on it, and we did, because we believed in it. OK, and then the final thing is make space to take creative risks. So this might seem like a contradiction, because I've spent a lot of time talking about a very clear framework and learnings and very clear directions, but actually it's not. You need to free up space to take creative risks or make creative bets, which you can do within the frameworks that you develop. Also, put aside some budget. Never be for creative bets. Never be afraid to make a creative bet or take a creative risk if it has a very strong hypothesis. Go for it. It's also the only way that you will be able to discover new messages or target new audiences and scale even further if you find the way to manage to take creative risks alongside your bread and butter creative production. I'm really excited to see the keynote speaker later on that's going to talk about precisely this topic. So in a way, it's kind of a nice place to hand off, and it'll be picked up later on in the day. OK, so today I've covered ideation, selection, analysis, and then repeat. But the one thing that I want you guys to take away from this presentation is this. Every marketer is a performance marketer. So it doesn't matter if you're a brand marketer, a content marketer, a community marketer, an influencer marketer. At the end of the day, every marketer is a performance marketer. And by opening up communication, playing to our strengths, working together, we can make the cash register ring. Thank you.